After studying this module, you shall be able to know about the basic nature of human needs and motives through various perspectives, learn about the three motives given by McClellan, and understand whether there are any universal needs or motives in human beings. Motivation is a central aspect of human personality which initiates and guides human behavior. When our needs or motives are thwarted or threatened, it can lead to unhealthy personality development. According to Passer and Smith, motivation is a process that influences the direction, persistence, and vigor of goal-directed behavior. It is an internal psychological force that makes us act and achieve our set goals. It can be affected by both internal and external factors. It includes all the processes that are involved in sensing a need or desire and then activating and guiding the organism by selecting, directing and sustaining the mental and physical activity aimed at meeting the need or desire. And finally, when the need is met, reducing the sensation of need. Motivational theories ask a fundamental question, namely, what moves a person? Thus, they are concerned with the prime forces at work in human nature and human culture. Many of our motives are a complex mix of psychological and biological needs. If we look from a perspective of the personality psychology, the concepts of motivation seem to imply that the internal qualities of activation, selection, direction, and preparedness influence the individual's action, cognition, and emotions. For instance, altruistic and aggressive motives play out in different ways. Furthermore, our motives and the ways of expressing them play an important role in impressing a particular label upon people. Most theories of personality include a theory of motivation. Theorists have primarily distinguished between two kinds of motives, that is, primary and secondary motives. Primary motives are biological, physiological, and unlearned. They can include, for example, pay and job security. Secondary motives are learned and reinforced. They can include, for example, need for affiliation, need for power, and need for achievement. Cognitive theorists who study motivation have also differentiated between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is internally generated and involves engaging in an activity for itself. It includes feelings of responsibility, achievement, accomplishment, challenge, learning, and engaging. Extrinsic motivation is contingency based and involves engaging in an activity for the sake of potential rewards. These rewards are visible and tangible and are distributed by other people. They can include pay, promotion, and benefits. Perspectives on motivation. Evolution, instincts, and genes. Darwin's theory of evolution inspired early psychologists studying motivation to suggest that instincts are the cause of most of our actions. According to Passer and Smith, an instinct, also called a fixed action pattern, is an inherited characteristic common to all members of a species that automatically produces a particular response when the organism is exposed to a particular stimulus. However, the instinct theory faded into nothingness because there was little evidence for it, and it heavily relied on circular reasoning, which gave no explanation. On the other hand, with the discovery of genes, psychologists started to study about the genetic influences on motivation. A number of gene knockout experiments have been done on the animals, which involve disabling of specific genes and then observing the results effective on the specific motivated behaviors. Twin and adoption studies have also been done to examine the hereditary influences that account for the differences in the motivated behaviors, such as tendencies to be socially outgoing or socially withdrawn. Modern evolutionary psychologists also propose that human motives are governed by the laws of evolution that are manifested through the genetic influences, homeostasis and drives. In 1932, Walter Cannon introduced the concept of homeostasis or equilibrium. It can be defined as an internal state of physiological balance that the body maintains to ensure the survival of the individual. Maintaining a homeostasis involves three things: a sensory mechanism that regulates any changes in the body, a response system that restores balance, and a control center that relays information from the sensors to the response system to activate it. According to Clark Hull's drive theory of motivation, any disruption to the bodily equilibrium produces drive, which can be defined as a state of internal tension that directs the individual to behave in ways that reduces or eliminates this state. Drives such as thirst and anger arise from a lack of deficit and pushes the organism to act. Thus, the end goal of motivated behavior is to reduce the drive. Approach and avoidance motivation, the BAS and BIS. Motivation tends to drive us towards behaviors that seek to maximize pleasure and gravitate towards rewards, and away from behaviors that give us pain and result in punishment or deprivation. This is due to the functioning of two neural systems in the brain. According to Jeffrey Gray's biopsychological theory of personality, the behavioral activation system, or BAS, is roused by the signals for rewards and positive need gratification. Thus, this motivates individuals to engage in behaviors that produce positive outcomes for them and results in emotions like elation, happiness and hope. On the other hand, there is behavioral inhibition system, or the BIS, which is roused by the signals of pain and punishment. It motivates individuals to inhibit a behavior or engage in escape or avoidance behavior. It produces emotions like fear. People who have high levels of BAS arousal tend to prefer change and novelty, while people who have a high level of BIS arousal tend to prefer familiarity in their tasks. A number of brain studies have revealed that the prefrontal area in the left hemisphere is a part of BAS and involved in the goal-directed planning and self-regulation. The BIS involves limbic system and the right frontal lobe. The BAS and BIS help to organize the cognitive, biological and psychological processes involved in approach and avoidance motivation behaviors. The BAS correlates the approach motivation and desired rewards with positive emotions, while the BIS correlates avoidance motivation with the negative emotions like fear, guilt and shame. In fact, Gray further proposed that the personality trait of neuroticism is highly correlated with BIS activity and negatively correlated with BAS activity, based on his findings from research on psychological tests that were designed to find the correlation between various personality traits and these two neural systems. Cognitive processes. Vroom's goal expectancy theory. Vroom was the first person to propose the goal expectancy theory. According to him, goal-directed behavior is determined by the strength of an expectation that the act will be followed by a given outcome and on the attractiveness of the outcome to that individual. Expectancy refers to a person's belief that particular behaviors or one's efforts will lead to the achievement of the set goals. It depends on self-efficacy, which is the person's belief about their ability to perform a behavior successfully. Goal difficulty, which is the belief about the attainability of the set goal, and perceived control, the person's belief that they have certain degree of control over the expected outcomes. Expectancy would be high when the person has requisite skills and knowledge to perform required behaviors, when he or she believes that the set goal is within his or her grasp, and when he or she perceives that outcomes are within his or her influence. Instrumentality refers to the person's belief that he or she will receive the desired reward when the set performance goal is met. Reward can be anything ranging from pay increase and promotion to even recognition and a sense of accomplishment. Valence is the incentive value of the goal to the person. Incentive is the environmental stimuli that pull an organism toward a goal. Valence depends on the individual's needs, values, goals, preferences, and sources that strengthen motivation. In all, motivation is the multiplicative function of expectancy, instrumentality, and valence. Expectancy and instrumentality are cognitions, while valence is based on a person's value system. If any one of them approach zero, motivation will also sharply reduce. Furthermore, motivation is high when expectancy and instrumentality is high and valence is strongly positive. This function is illustrated through the following equation. Psychodynamic processes. Freud's instinctual theory. According to Freud, much of the human behavior is motivated by the unconscious forces, which he called id. The id impulses energizes the human mind and guide it towards behaviors that involve direct or indirect release of the repressed wishes and desires. For example, the mind can direct a person to release his or her sexual urges either through direct behaviors or through indirect behaviors. According to Freud, there are two basic desires: eros, an erotic desire, and thanatos, the destructive or aggressive impulse. Freud believed that all our behavior is based virtually on these two impulses, or on the mechanisms that the ego uses to keep a check on them. We must look for acceptable ways to express these impulses to live a healthy life and avoid any mental problems. For instance, Freud recommended that creative work can satisfy the sexual desires indirectly, while swearing and shouting or playing aggressive games serve a psychologically safer outlet for our aggressive tendencies. Murray's need press theory. In describing the basic tenets of human personality, Murray gave huge attention to the concept of need. He assumed that needs arise from a force in brain that organizes our perception and behavior and can be influenced by the internal and external stimuli. He distinguished between primary and secondary needs as well as overt and covert needs. The primary needs, like hunger and thirst, are related to the physiological condition within the organism, and the secondary needs, like the need to avoid fear, are associated with the satisfaction of the primary needs, like pain. According to Murray, overt needs involve direct expression, while the covert needs involve inhibiting or blocking their expression. Further, he suggested that needs cause tension in the organism if they are not fulfilled, and the person requires to satisfy them to reduce tension. However, the most satisfying aspect of the tension reduction is the process itself, and not the tensionless state. Following an intensive study on a small number of subjects, Murray prepared a list of 20 manifest and 8 latent needs. Each need is associated with some desire, feeling, action, and trait. For example, the need for dominance is associated with the desire to control, influence, or direct the behavior of others, with the feeling of confidence, with actions that influence, lead, persuade, and prevail upon, and with trait names such as forceful, assertive, and decisive. Other manifest needs include aggression, nurturance, achievement, affiliation, and play. Based on this, he developed the thematic apperception test, or the TAT, which involves a series of illustrations, and subjects are asked to write stories based on the picture regarding what is going on, what led to the situation, and what will happen in the future. The central idea here is that the stories reveal the individual's needs, wishes, and desires that he or she projects on the card. Murray also paid attention to the individual and environment. He suggested that aspects of the environment could be a representation of frustration and satisfaction of a particular need. He called these characteristics of the environment as press, defined as the aspects of environment that affected the well-being of the person. The press of the environment form the external counterpart of the internal need. Since individuals differ in their needs, they also tend to differ in the particular kinds of environment as gratifying over others. This degree of fit between the needs of an individual and the characteristics of the environments is called need-press congruence. For example, an environment with lots of social interaction would be congruent with the needs of an extrovert but incongruent with the needs of an introvert. Humanistic theories. Maslow's need hierarchy theory. Maslow proposed a theory of human motivation based on a hierarchy of needs. It is a hierarchy which represents various human needs, starting from the lowest needs which are dominant and triggered by some deficit in the person, to the higher needs which entails personal growth and achievement of one's goals. As the lower needs get satisfied, they give way to the emergence of new higher needs. These needs are arranged from the strongest to the weakest. The lower needs must be partially satisfied before the highest needs can be fulfilled. For example, a thirsty person will be more occupied with his physiological need rather than fulfilling his esteem needs. Also, one need tends to dominate the personality at a given time. The lowest level needs in the hierarchy are the physiological needs. They include hunger, thirst, and other biological drives. These are the most basic needs found in an organism. The more these needs are unsatisfied, the more they dominate a person's life goals, and as a result, other needs are relegated to the background. The next set of needs that emerge are the safety needs. These include stability, security, dependency, protection, and freedom from fear. The third set of needs is the love and belongingness needs. These primarily relate to our innate need to have deep and affectionate relations with people in general, as a community, and in particular as a friend and family. The fourth set of needs is the esteem needs. They represent the esteem needs of the self and the esteem from the others. It includes the desires of strength, achievement, mastery and competence, independence and competence, as well as respect from others, fame, dominance, status, attention and dignity. In addition to our cognitive needs, we have some cognitive needs, which are related to our desire to know and understand well. We also have aesthetic needs, which relate to our desires for beauty, balance, form, simplicity, richness, etc. The highest level of needs is the needs for the self-actualization. This means that when the individual reaches his highest potential, he is said to be self-actualized. Self-determination theory. According to Ryan and Dessay, there are three innate and fundamental needs found in every human being that allow them to function in an optimal manner. These are competence, psychological relatedness, and autonomy. People are highly satisfied when they are able to satisfy these three needs. The competence need reflects the human need to master and perfect new skills. It leads to growth, inducing, and exploratory behavior. As the person achieves this need, the behavior is intrinsically motivated and not performed for any incentive. The need for autonomy reflects the desire to attain greater freedom and independence by exercising self-regulation. This need motivates the individual to attain personal control, self-integration, and self-realization. The need of relatedness refers to the person's desire to form long-lasting and meaningful relationships with others. The need for autonomy and relatedness are complementary to each other in the sense that when people fulfill their need of belongingness, they are freer to be themselves. For example, adolescents feel a sense of belongingness to their parents if they acknowledge their autonomous decisions. All these needs, when fulfilled, tend to have positive outcomes for the individual, like sense of purpose in life, psychological well-being, happiness, positive social bonds, and improved job performance. The three motives: achievement, power, and intimacy. Based on Maslow's need hierarchy theory, psychologist David McClelland in 1965 developed the three needs theory. This model of motivation and personality seeks to explain how three needs of achievement, power, and affiliation affects the person's job performance as well as their career goals. According to McClelland, these three needs are found in everyone, irrespective of their gender, race, or culture. The type of motive that governs a person's actions is influenced by the cultural views and the life experiences of the individual. The three needs theory is highly influential in the area of organizational behavior and personality psychology. Need for achievement. In the late 1950s, psychologists David McClelland, John Atkinson, and colleagues began to explore the need for achievement. It is defined as a positive desire to accomplish tasks and complete successfully with standards of excellence. According to McClelland and Atkinson, need for achievement is associated with a positive motivation for success and a negative motivation to avoid failure, which is called fear for failure. Thus, need for achievement is driven by the desire to succeed. McClelland and Atkinson measured the need for achievement in people by extensively studying their responses to the TAT cards. They found that need for achievement and fear of failure are independent from each other, as people could be high or low on both the motives, or high in one and low in the other. McClelland suggested that it is not necessary for the people high on the need for achievement and low on the fear of failure, called the high need achievers, to outperform people with low levels of need for achievement when the task is easy and conditions are relaxed. However, when the conditions are too stressful and the task is difficult, the high need achievers tend to outperform the low need achievers. When they encounter obstacles in the path of their achievement, they tend to perform at a higher level and show more perseverance. Moreover, they show more determination to succeed when they feel personally responsible for the success, when there is a risk involved, and when they are likely to get a performance feedback. The high need achievers tend to choose a task that has moderate difficulty and moderate probability for success to a task which is too easy or too difficult. The outcome of the difficult is too uncertain, while that of the easy task does not satisfy the need for achievement. In contrast, the low need achievers tend to choose either an easy task where the success is certain or a difficult task where the chance for success is low. This pattern is based on the individual's perception about the probability of success or failure. People with high levels of need for achievement tend to work best either independently or with high need achievers. Need for power. The need for power stems from the desire to influence others to behave in ways that they would not otherwise do. People with high levels of need for power desire to control others. These people are highly competitive, like to win arguments, value discipline, and enjoy social status and recognition. These people are good team leaders and managers as they enjoy competition and tend well on goal-oriented activities. They do not seek approval or recognition from the other, only compliance. According to Jay and Rabindra, these people tend to be argumentative, assertive, and feel frustrated when the situation is not in their control. In a later research, McClellan suggested two types of power motivation: the socialized and personal power. The socialized power is expressed in the form of plans, self-doubt, and care for others, while the personalized power is expressed in the form of gaining power for oneself and preventing others from attaining it. A high need for power predicts managerial effectiveness and greater career success if people are satisfied with the power dynamics of their workplace. Outside work, it can have both positive and negative consequences. For example, people with high need for power and lower responsibility tend to show self-destructive behaviors such as binge drinking and aggression. However, people with high need for power and high levels of responsibility report more positive outcomes like taking social leadership roles. Need for affiliation. It is defined as the need to form friendly and close interpersonal bonds with others. The need for affiliation is a basic, influential, and powerful motivation. As social beings, humans show various behaviors to affiliate themselves with somebody, some group, or culture. This need is similar to Maslow's love and belongingness need, as well as Baumeister and Leary's need for belongingness. This need has played an important role in the survival of the human species. It has considerable functional value in the sense that it has afforded greater accessibility to sexual partners, safety from any attacks by the predators, and passing down of the knowledge over generations. According to a recent research, positive social relationships lead to life satisfaction. Social relationships also acts as buffer to stress in an individual's life by providing support, care, and love in times of need. According to Hill, individuals tend to affiliate with each other because of 4 reasons: to receive emotional support at the times of need, to positively stimulate themselves, to attract attention from others, and to socially compare our own beliefs, emotions, and actions to ascertain that our responses are normal to judge our level of cognitive and physical abilities. McClellan and colleagues have suggested that people with high level of need for affiliation have the desire to belong to a group. They want to be liked by others and are more likely than others to conform to the group norms and group standards to gain social approval. They tend to favor collaboration and cooperation over competition. They do not like to take risk and avoid uncertainty. Thus, these people tend to work best in team or group environment. Summary: motivation is a central aspect of human personality which initiates and guides human behavior. When our needs or motives are thwarted or threatened, it can lead to unhealthy personality development. Motivation is a process that influences the direction, persistence, and vigor of goal-directed behavior. It is an internal psychological force that makes us act and achieve our set goals. A number of perspectives have been advanced to explain the process of motivation. The evolutionary and genetic theories seek to explain the hereditary influences on motivation. The instinct theories see motivation as an attempt to maintain balance in the body. The drive theories seek to explain motivation as a process that pushes the organism to reduce tension caused due to some deficit and restore equilibrium. According to Jeffrey Gray's biopsychological theory of personality, the behavioral activation system that is the BAS, motivates the individuals to engage in behaviors that produce positive outcomes for them. On the other hand, the behavioral inhibition system, or the BIS, motivates the individuals to inhibit a behavior or engage in escape or avoidance behavior. The expectancy theory explains that goal-directed behavior is determined by the strength of an expectation that the act will be followed by a given outcome and on the attractiveness of the outcome to the individual. The psychodynamic theories explain the most of our behaviors is motivated by the sexual and aggressive impulses that reside in the unconscious. Maslow proposed that human needs are arranged in a hierarchy from basic physiological needs to the highest need for self-actualization. Ryan and Desi's self-determination theory emphasizes on three fundamental needs: competence, autonomy, and relatedness. Based on Maslow's need hierarchy theory, psychologist David McClelland developed the three needs theories. This model of motivation and personality seeks to explain how three needs of achievement, power, and affiliation affects people's job performance as well as their career goals. According to McClelland, these three needs are found in everyone, irrespective of their gender, race, or culture. The three needs theory is highly influential in the area of organizational behavior and personality theory. Motivational psychologists have also tried to answer the question that whether there are any universal needs or motives, and if so, what are their bases. Baumisters and Leary suggested that there are 9 criteria for considering a need to be universal. A number of psychologists have debated over what motives or needs are universally found in all human beings.